281, Readings. Part 5. The body physical is an atomic structure subject to the laws of its environment, its heredity, its soul development. The activity of healing, then, is to create or make a balance in the necessary units of the influence or force that is set in motion as the body in the material form, through the motivative force of spiritual activity, sets in motion. It is seen that each atom, each corpuscle, has within same the whole form of the universe within its own structure. As for the physical body, this is made up of the elements of the various natures that keep same in its motion necessary for sustaining its equilibrium, as begun from the individual body's first cause. If in the atomic forces there becomes an overbalancing, an injury, a happening, an accident, there are certain atomic forces destroyed or others increased, that to the physical body become either such as to add to or take from the élan vital that makes for the motivative forces through that particular or individual activity. Then, in meeting these it becomes necessary for the creating of that influence within each individual body to bring a balance necessary for its continued activity about each of the atomic centers, its own rotary or creative force, its own elements for the ability of resuscitating, revivifying, such influence or force in the body. How, then, does the activity of any influence act upon the individual system for bringing healing in the wake or the consciousness to become conscious of its desire? When a body, separate from that one ill, then, has so attuned or raised its own vibration sufficiently, it may, by the motion of the spoken word, awaken the activity of the emotions to such an extent as to revivify, resuscitate or to change the rotary force or influence or the atomic forces in the activity of the structural portion or the vital forces of a body in such a way and manner as to set it again in motion. Thus does spiritual or psychic influence of body upon body bring healing to any individual, where another body may raise that necessary influence in the hormone of the circulatory forces as to take from that within itself to revivify or resuscitate diseased, disordered or distressed conditions within a body. For, as has been said oft, any manner in which healing comes, whether by the laying on of hands, prayer, by a look, by the application of any mechanical influence or any of those forces in materia medica, must be of such a nature as to produce that necessary within those forces about the atomic centers of a given body for it to bring resuscitating or healing. The law, then, is compliance with the universal spiritual influence that awakens any atomic center to the necessity of its concurrent activity in relationships to other pathological forces or influences within a given body. Whether this is by spiritual forces, by any of the mechanical forces, it is of necessity one and the same. Many are the divisions or characters of those ills that befall or become a portion of each individual body. Some are set in motion so that certain portions of the glandular system or of the organs of the body perform more than their share. Hence some are thin, some are fat, some are tall, some are short. But said he, can anyone by taking thought make one hair white or black, or add 1 cubit to his stature? Who giveth healing, then? It is in any manner the result only of compliance to the first cause and the activity of same within the individual's relative relation to its own evolution. Many of you here were both in and of the temple service, whether in the purifications in the temple of sacrifice or the temple beautiful. In the temple of sacrifice there were the altars to cleanse the bodies of those things that hindered in body, that were emblematical of the source of the stumbling block. In the temple beautiful there were the expressions of the service as an activity to maintain and to purify the bodies for the necessary associations of spiritual understandings in material bodies. Do not, my children, confuse thine bodies of today with those attributes of same, with the conditions existent in the temple beautiful. In structure, this There had been gathered from all the nations of the earth that which represented from their environ, their surrounding, the most beautiful gift, that it might be a reminder of those, to those, that purified or gave themselves in service or activity there, of the beauty of service of every land in this preparation of the bodies for their greater service, and for their intermingling with those of the earth's environ, as well as enabling the servants, the workers, the priestess, the prophetess, those that labored, or joyously gave themselves, to give their activity for others. The materials outwardly were of the mountains nigh unto the upper waters of the Nile. It was in the form of the pyramid, within which was the globe which represented to those who served there a service to the world. The furnishings may be surmised from the fact that the most beautiful things from each land were gathered there: gold, silver, onyx, iron, brass, silk, satins, linen. As to the manner of the service there, the individuals, having cleansed themselves of those appendages that hindered, came not merely for the symbolic understanding. For these, to be sure, were all symbolized. The faults, the virtues of man, and all his 7 stages of development in the light, or the lamp borne by those who served as the light bearers to those who entered for their initiation, or for their preparation to be, that is given by the teachers. Even rotary. Laying aside those things that easily beset the sons of men, ye as ye enter here, put thy whole trust in the one God, that ye may be all things unto all men, thereby crucifying thine own desires, that they, thy brethren, may know the Lord their God. In the activities then, there were first the songs, the music, as we have indicated, that ye sing, air, which makes for the losing of even the association of the body with that, save the vibrations of which the body was then compassed. Yea, now is, though encased in a much more hardened matter, as to materiality, which made for the vibrating of same with light, that becomes color, that becomes tone, that becomes activity. Please note the suggestion here is that the body then was more vibrational than physical. Now it is more physically hardened, but still vibrational. The activity of songs and music vibrates the body of light, or vibrates the body, chakras, which become color, tone and spiritual activities. Seek then in tone, all of you, that ye may know how the emanations, that are termed as the colors of the body, make for the expression then given. With the music came then the dance, that enabled those with the disturbing forces and influences to become more erect, upright in body, in thought, in activity. Then there was the giving by the prophetess of the seal of life, that was set upon each and every one who passed through these experiences, how or in what field of activity the relationships were of an individual to its fellow man in maintaining material existence, being in the world yet not of the world. Please note, highly recommended reading is the book authored by Kevin J. Tedeschi, which can be read online on Amazon Kindle, titled Edgar Cayce on Soul Symbolism, Creating Life Seals, Aura Charts, and Understanding the Revelation. These then, made for that as ye have in thine experiences in the present expressed. First in cleanliness, in purifying of the body, in the washing in blood and water, that ye may be purified before thyself first, and then before others. The anointing with the incense, making for the raising of that ye know as thine senses or perception or consciousness of the activities to all the faults, by comparison, as arose among others. From those activities ye have that first as thine service of preparation, of birth, of consecration, of purification, of those things that later become the hospitalization, the care of the ill in body and mind, the divinations of those tempted from within and those tempted from without. Little study is made in the present of this phase of man's experience. The teaching, the preparation, the ministering, the song, the music, the activities that give expression, arise in man's experience from those activities in the temple beautiful. Ye ask, where is this now? disintegrated, and in that sphere ye may enter, and some have entered, where these are sealed as with the 7 seals of the law, and that these experiences now become as those of thine activities among thy fellow man. The temple beautiful exists in a vibrational world which you can still enter by fine-tuning, attuning and opening the seals of our chakras. Hence our physical body is the temple beautiful. Then, in using and in applying and associating same with thine activities in that experience, and that manner in which ye may use same in the present. So attune thyselves that ye may hearken, not as to an experience only, but rather live and be the experience in the hearts of those that are seeking to find their way. Whether in the troubles of the body, of the mind, or whether they are lost among those turmoils of the cry, this way, that way, here and there. Be the experience to someone to like their lives, their bodies, their minds to thy living Lord, thy brother, the Christ. For he has promised in his words in thine own heart, that keeps the hope, that keeps the fires of thine own heart aflame, ye finding me may know the joy of the Lord. As many of you served there, as many experienced those purifications for an active service among their fellow man in an individual experience, so may ye purify thy minds and thy bodies, or purify thy bodies that thy mind may put on Christ, the garments of a living Lord, that ye may be not as one stumbling, as one's fearful of this or that, but sure and certain in the joys of a risen Lord, that indeed thy body in its expressions may be the temple beautiful for thy living Lord. He thy brother, thy Christ, hath given that God is God of the living way. He is life. He is love. He is beauty. He is harmony. He is music. He is the rhythm of the body and dance that is a service to thy God. Though others make slight of thy manner of speech, of thy body, of thy walks, of thy ways, hold fast to him, grudging no one, loving all. For as given, in thy preparation, in the indication and the vindication in thine service there, self is lost in the love of thy fellow man, through the joy of the Lord in thee.